I'm back. No more toilet flushes in the last 5 minutes. That's a good thing. So scary here when you're by yourself. Okay, so anytime I hear a noise, I freak out. Okay, so let's talk about another story element that you're going to be learning about in your next lesson called plot. You guys know plot. Okay, remember the plot is just a fancy way of saying what are the events of the story. Remember, you have to tell the events in the order they happened, the sequence. You cannot tell them out of order. Okay, so we're talking about the plot. What are the events of the story? Remember, our plot roller coaster or our plot mountain. I'm out of breath. Okay, so we start with our exposition. So that's when our story starts to take off. This is the beginning of the story. What happened in the beginning? This is where we do our setting. We introduce our characters. Okay, we get to know all of our characters. Well, most of them. And we figure out where our story's taking place. What's the setting? I can see myself teaching on the TV behind me. Okay, so then we start to go into our story and we hit our rising action. That's when we figure out our characters have a problem. Okay, they have a problem they need to solve. Something's going on in the story that needs to be figured out. Then we get to the middle of our story. That's our climax. Our climax, remember, climax is the big, most exciting part of the story. That's where the story just really is like, whoa, this is crazy. Okay, so our problem is at its peak. It's the biggest that it's ever been. It's the most exciting, and our characters need to figure out what they're going to do about it. So then we go, that's our middle. Then we go into our falling action. That's where our characters are starting to try to solve their problem. Okay, our plot is starting to resolve itself. Our characters are figuring out what they need to do, how they can fix their problem, and then the ending or the resolution, that is when our characters have solved their problem or they've solved the mystery, and we can wrap up our story with our resolution or our ending. Okay, so plot is just a fancy way to say what are the events of the story. So we can put them into our plot roller coaster or our plot mountain. I used to have it on the wall. I don't know where it went. Okay, remember, exposition, beginning. That's where we figure out our main character. What's the setting of the story? Rising action, starting to go up, 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 up. Rising action is when things are starting to get exciting. We're starting to see a problem forming that our characters need to figure out. Climax, our problem is at its biggest, its craziest, okay? Most exciting, that's the middle of our story. And our falling action, we're starting to go down the hill now. We're talking about our characters have solved their problem, or they're working on solving their problem. They're working on fixing whatever needs to be fixed, and the story's starting to wind down. And then we go into our resolution, or how our characters solve the problem, how they solve the mystery, how our whole story gets wrapped up and it has a good ending, and then our resolution is our ending, right? Plot is easy stuff. You guys know this stuff. So I'm just doing quick reviews for you so you remember. Remember, plot, events of the story. Does the plot have to be in order? Yes, you have to use the sequence of the story and tell it as it happened. Okay, remember, if I'm telling you the plot of the tale of Despereaux and I tell you, well, Despereaux is my main character. It happens at the castle in the Kingdom of Dor. Okay, that's my beginning or my exposition. And then I say, Despereaux saves the princess. Then I go to climax and I say, Roscoe kidnaps the princess. See, it doesn't make sense. You have to go in order. So I would say my exposition or my beginning, my main character, Despereaux. Where does it happen? It happens in the Kingdom of Dor. Sometimes in the light, sometimes in the darkness of the dungeon or the deep downs. Rising action. Despereaux, he gets banished to the dungeon because he makes friends with the princess. And Roscoe, climax, kidnaps the princess. That's when our story is the craziest. Falling action. Despereaux has to try to figure out how he can save the princess. Will he be able to do it? We don't know. And resolution. How did Despereaux save the princess? How did our story wrap up? How was everybody happy in the end? Okay, so make sure you tell your plot in the order that it happened. Use sequencing. Okay, I'll see you in the next lesson. Love you. Bye.